Like a This is Fam Electric Ghost, and this is our continuing series of song deconstructions. We're talking about the song Wounded Room, A House Is Not a Home. This is a collaboration that I did with Metaphlo. You can see her on Instagram. She's a film director. And we were working on a project. She had a script called Wounded Room. And I reviewed it, and I really thought that the script would work as a song. So I decided to take the script that was really meant for a short film and turn it into a song. And I made multiple versions of this song. But this particular version of House Is Not a Home, I really like because I've been recently rediscovering the kind of neo punk band Joy Division, and I was very enamored with their guitar playing and their style, which is pre-goth, pre-Nirvana, pre-Pearl Jam, pre all the grunge movement, but it has a lot of elements of an industrial kind of Nine Inch Nails sound. And there are other bands that that took their sound, like Joy Division. In today's world, we get Car Seat Headrest has taken some of their style and used it in some of their albums. And any kind of proto-punk band, any kind of band doing any kind of modern punk can kind of feel Joy Division a lot. And I decided to kind of put that kind of feel to this song. But I use synths to do that. I don't play guitar, but I'm able to use my Rolands to create that guitar sound. And the drum beat is coming from the really awesome analog drum machine, the drummer from Another Mother from Moog. And I use this drum machine a lot. And it does have limitations. It's only an 8-step machine. You can't save patches. Like I said, it's only 8 steps. So you have to be inventive to use it to do more than 8 steps. You have to keep on, changing the dials on it, or you need to buy multiple DFAMs and stack them and then use them to kind of create alternative patterns. But I find that if you just take a DFAM and play the filters like you can on any Moog, play with the actual controls on the synth itself, you can get a lot of alternating patterns just by doing that. You can trigger some alternating patterns by linking it through CV to other devices and then using the triggers to do that as well. And it is a very awesome synth, and it doesn't just do drum or bass tones. It can do a lot of cool things. I found it to be a very useful tool. On top of that, excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. I got a cold, but there's some other things I've done in this song where I've used the math utility module for Make Noise to affect the sounds. I'm using a studio electronics microphone, going through an MX1 mixer, using some effects there. I'm using also the vocal transformer from Roland to create the Josephine electric voice, and there's a lot of things you can do with that. It's just the tendency I have is to kind of do everything in this hardware workflow where I have a lot of choices, a lot of controls in front of me, a lot of knob per function type of controls that allow you to have, a lot of control, a lot of choices to make in terms of what the sound is going to be like. So you're like a painter. Like I like what Hendrix said about this. I've said this before, but he talked about Electric Ladyland and being a sound painting. And a lot of what the Ghost does, we do a lot of sound paintings. We take a lot of the tools we have, the knob per function synths that we have, and use those dials and controls to be like palettes that an artist would do with a painting. And we call it sonic painting because we're able to create a landscape of sound that has that depth. And we try to play with our synths to create these visions. And what's cool with this song is we worked with a film director that we took a script, and so it's very cinematic in terms of what the content is. You can kind of picture the scene, which we've always wanted to be able to do as lyricists ourselves, but we think Metaphlo did a really awesome job with that. And we found that was a real core part of this collaboration. We've done collaborations with a lot of artists recently. In the last 2 years, we collaborated with Lonnie Claire in New York City, All Control K in Los Angeles, DJ Squash Kid. We're hoping to do some stuff with some work with Heritage out of Bermuda. And we're also looking to work with some other folks that we've talked to on Spearman and we've talked to on Anchor. Just doing some housekeeping. We are now fan supported, so you can choose to support us at $1, $4.99 or $9.99 or $9.99, and that would get you exclusive WAV and MP3 files from the Ghost that we would send to you if you provide us information on how to send it to you. And we also will give you information on when we're going to play shows. Most of the time it would be in the Northeast. And when we do shows on Facebook Live, which you'll be able to see anytime. And releases that we put out on all the streaming services. And anybody that subscribes will be able to get songs that we put on streaming services. If you're not on the service, we'll give you the direct download link or a direct WAV or MP3 file. We are going to use these funds to continue our conversation with indie artists around the world, which we do every month, 2 to 3 interviews with bands from all around the world. We just interviewed Kendra Erica, a top 10 Billboard star, this week, and we're looking forward to doing an interview with Christina Passion in October. And we continue to do interviews with multiple types of art, all kinds of artists in multiple genres. And we're also looking into doing product reviews. We're very interested in getting a Theravox, which is a really awesome new synth that's based on an old French design. It is not a typical synth. It has a lot to do with more of a string instrument. It actually has a string that goes across the length of a keyboard. It's not a functioning keyboard. It has the indentations in metal of what would be a keyboard, but there's this string that there's a finger controller that you put your finger through this control that goes across the length of the string, and that's how you actually control the notes on this thing, and the pedals as well, and other pressure sensitive devices. It seems to act like a pedal steel synthesizer is the best way I can describe it. And it creates, Pink Floyd and blues like soloing, which, being the kind of synthesist I am, I'm always looking for guitar focused synths, and this would be another guitar type of synth that would give me capabilities in my workflow, which I think would be really cool to have, because it's part of what the Ghost has always done is try to bring guitar sounds, kind of a frustrated guitar player, into our music. And this device would be really interesting. So I reached out to the manufacturer and trying to see if I can get them to give me one for review purposes, and to also put into a song, that I would develop a song and then put it out, and that would be really cool. So we'll send this their way again, that we're very interested in doing that. And Wounded Room, has some really interesting guitar solos that I did on my Juno GI. That I have been, a big proponent of trying to put synths out in the front rather than being accompaniment kind of background instruments. And this song is kind of an example of that technique. And I think the lyrics being very cinematic go with the idea of the sound painting. And it's just the overall concept of expansive sound experiments is to try to go as deep as we can in crossing genres and doing all types of things with music that push it forward as much as we can. And so that's what we try to do. And we try to talk to artists around the world and see what they're doing. And that helps us as an artist ourselves, because the more we talk to other artists, even though we're in our internet little womb here and we're all isolated, but when we reach out and we actually talk to artists and we get the understanding of where they're coming from, kind of like what I'm talking about now. I'm talking about my process, just as the Ghost. But when I talk to another artist, I get to bring that process to everybody else. I get to reveal, what they do in their music. A lot of people interview artists and they ask them about their personal life. We never do that. We don't get into that. If they want to talk about how that affects their art, we talk about that. But we don't get into who their significant others are or any controversies or anything they're talking about that would be a typical social media kind of interview. We want to talk about the music. That's what we're about. We're all about the music. And if you want to listen to an interview where you get to find out how an artist does what they do and how they create, that's what we're about. So we're really hoping that you want to join us and help us out. Check out the link to support us. If you want to join this whole movement and be a co-host on the show, send us a voice